The sun's coming up, the drinks are hot, and now it's time for our first cup. Today, the gray suit. Have you ever gotten bad advice? Have you ever taken bad advice? I know I have. Quite a fair amount. I think it's something to be expected, in circumstances where people are trying to be more than where they're from or what they've been doing, right? It's kind of one of those things that happens when there's no guidebooks or no real kinds of people around that you can ask. A lot of people will try and give you their best, but sometimes, I can remember, for instance, I was standing in a Macy's men's department, getting ready to check out. And I was a mix of feelings. The biggest feeling I had at the moment was actually kind of excitement, right? I was buying my first suit ever, right? And I was excited for a few reasons. Like, one, this was the first suit I had ever bought that didn't come kind of like piecemeal from like a Goodwill or something like it, right? It wasn't secondhand. This was something that I was buying for myself. Was it off the rack? Yes. Didn't matter. This was the first suit. That felt really good. The reason I was buying it, well, that was more of a mixed bag. On the one hand, I was buying it because I was interviewing at PhD programs. Right? This was something that no one in my family had ever done before. I was a first-generation college student. There was all sorts of stuff that was like exciting and new and unknown, but it was where I wanted to be. That felt great. What didn't feel great was the suit really wasn't me. Yeah, the suit really wasn't me. Because you see, I had looked around, in a number of different places. I was taking this as seriously as I could. And it wasn't at Macy's, I forget where it was, but I'd had my eye on this kind of royal blue number, right? It wasn't your typical, navy blue or black or whatever. It was royal blue. I loved it. It was a clean cut, it was a clean fit, it matched my eyes. I felt it matched me. I'd been thinking long and hard, but I ended up not going with that suit. I ended up going with the one that I was checking out with there at Macy's, and that was because I'd gotten some advice from some people. Now these people were, again, I think probably operating in their version of my best interests, but importantly, they all had experience that I didn't. Right? One of them was my girlfriend, who I met when she started her PhD program. The other was one of my advisors, one of my grad student advisors while I was an undergrad. People who had gotten into PhD programs, right? And they said, Ian, you need something to camouflage you a bit. What do you mean? Well, you're really expressive. You're really passionate. You're really straightforward about why you're wanting to be at a PhD program. And, to their credit, they had correctly identified that. I was in whole hog on the knowledge is power thing. And I saw these places where you could go and study things and accumulate knowledge and accumulate power, and in my mind, that was the shortest and surest way to change the world. I mean, who wouldn't want to be in a pile, in a group, in a camaraderie, have people as coworkers who were all so smart and all so diligent and all so forward focused? No, the advice came to me that because I was extroverted, because I was excited, because I was enthusiastic, because I was effervescent, that I needed something to tone that down. That the people who were going to be interviewing me were nothing like that. That the people that I would be interviewing alongside would also be nothing like that. and that I needed to fit in a little bit better. And so there, I found myself at that Macy's, excited, but with this undercurrent. I completed my transaction, walked out the door. Now, you might be thinking, well, Ian, you bought this suit. Sure, it wasn't you, but didn't everything work out okay? I mean, you got into the program, you did your thing, you published some papers, you did help change a few things here and there. Didn't it all work out okay in the end? And, well, sure. To some extent, it absolutely did. But also, I'm not a very ends justify the means sort of guy, even when they do work out pretty well. But what's more, knowing what I know now, I don't think I would give myself that advice. I don't think I would sit down with young me and say, yeah, go and get that off-the-rack Macy's suit. And it's not just because I know more about, the noble Ponzi scheme that PhDs are. It's not just because of the environment, right? It's not even necessarily that the people who were giving me the advice were wrong about the fact that most people in academia aren't excited, they're not passionate, they don't look towards a horizon where they can change things. That's all true. But I don't think that even if you are radically different from those people or any other circumstance that you may be looking at trying to become a part of, I don't think that you should camouflage yourself. I don't think what we should be telling people, especially those people who are trying to strive and thrive and push into new places, into new circumstances beyond where they're from. I don't think that we should tell people who are trying to bring experience that is unique to these institutions, these rarefied institutions, or to these places where everything is very homogeneous. I don't think we should be telling anyone who wants to get into those places that they should camouflage themselves. Because the reality is that if you are capable, if you are confident, if you're willing to do more, willing to be more, you should bring that with you, full force. And sure, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. That's always good advice to a certain degree, but to the exclusion of the most powerful parts of a person, no, not at all. To the exclusion of the possibility that a real diversity of experience or of thought can bring, no, not at all. And I'm not saying that people should be encouraged to cause chaos for chaos's sake. No, it's nothing like that. All I'm saying is that if you or someone who's asking you for advice is genuinely striving to do better, if they genuinely want to take on the world in a good way, if they are confident, if they are capable, and especially if they are exceptional, we should tell them, sure, you've got to fit in, but more than that, you've got to do you, boo. In other words, if they're asking for clothing advice, I would say, unless it really, really fits who you are and what you want to be, you should absolutely avoid the gray suit. Please remember that no matter what you've heard or what I've said, death comes for us all, and a closed mouth never gets fed. Take care of yourselves. We'll speak again soon.